Those skyrocketing gas prices are seriously threatening the larger economy. We talked about that a bit earlier. Daniel Kish joins us now, Senior Vice President for Policy at the Institute for Energy Research. And we're also trying to get Fox News contributor Jamiu Green with us shortly. We'll check her in when she gets here. All right, Daniel, thanks for joining us here today. Well, let me ask you about this issue. The president has talked about a lot of different kinds of energy sources. He has said that he encourages domestic oil production. He's talked about incentives for local companies, for domestic companies, but he's also pointed to them and said, listen, they have tens of millions of acres of unused leases that they aren't developing. So who's to blame when it comes to domestic production?
The government's to blame, and not just this administration. It's gone on for a long time. But actually, the president himself has pushed for higher energy prices. He said he wanted to make energy prices skyrocket. His Secretary of Energy told us in 2008 that he thought we ought to be paying what Europe pays. So it's a direct attempt to make prices go up higher, so we'll use other forms of energy.
All right, and we have that quote from Secretary Chu that you referenced from back in 2008. He said, somehow we have to figure out how to boost the price of gas to the levels in Europe. So you feel like this is a concerted effort to manipulate the American consumer? Well,
it's a direct effort that they actually mean to propose, because ultimately what this is, it's the Tonya Harding approach to energy. Break the leg of the type of energy that you use so that someone else can win. And in this case, it's the electric car or hybrid or whatever the president has proposed. And they're also doing it with energy, electricity. And so if you make the price of energy more expensive, it will drive consumers to use other forms of energy once they become competitive. But that means the American public is going to be hurting quite a bit in the interim, and it's not a very good plan at all, especially when the government has huge amounts of land that it isn't exposed to letting access to companies to go out and produce energy right here at home.
All right, well, I understand that Jamiu Green is with us, Fox News contributor, so let's check in with her as well. Jamiu, let me ask you, the president's talked a lot about obviously changing and finding better solutions for the U.S., more domestic options. He visited a wind turbine plant last week. I believe it was in Pennsylvania, but it turned out that company is headquartered in Spain. Is the president giving us mixed messages?
No, I clearly think that from the beginning of his campaign back in 2008 to everything he's done while he's been in the White House has been focused on trying to move us away from this roller coaster ride that we're on. We as Americans, we can't budget how much we're going to spend on gas, how much we're going to spend on, our food prices based on the turmoil that's happening in other countries around the world. And I think everything that the president and this administration has been trying to do is to stabilize our energy, to make sure that, we are not as dependent on energy from foreign sources. And I do think that, every single time he's tried to take a step in the right direction, there's been a lot of opposition from Republicans. And I would hope that this is one of those issues that we can get past the partisan gridlock and really focus on the fact that, especially me, I'm in Texas right now. When I'm in New York, I don't pay attention to gas prices that much, but I had to fill up my mom's SUV, and it was pretty ludicrous, the amount that I had to pay, and very painful. So we do need to produce more of our energy resources here. I think it's a good sign that in the past year, we've actually produced more oil here in the U.S. Under the Obama administration than had been produced in the last 7 or 8 years. And that's a good sign, a good step in the right direction. Hopefully we can come together around this as Americans and not as Democrats or Republicans.
Yeah, you mentioned the partisan aspect of this, but having talked to the senators from Louisiana who are directly impacted by this, both Vitter and Landrieu, the Republican and the Democrat, both of them are expressing frustration with this administration over, getting leases going and approving drilling permits, those kinds of things, because they're on the front lines there in the Gulf Coast. Do you think there will be bipartisan help on getting something done?
Well, I think the president was also really clear on, as we move to make sure that we are producing more or finding more energy resources here in the U.S., that we have to do this in a safe and responsible way. I think if you were to ask any of the families that were affected by the BP oil spill, who lost the lives of their loved ones, that they clearly want that economy to rebound and for those communities to be able to rely on those resources down there, but they also understand that it has to be done in a safe and responsible way. And it's a complex issue. It's not that we can just go full force and not make sure that we are regulating these companies in the way that they should be, because I think we saw what happened when they aren't regulated, when they're just given free rein to do what they want. So it is a balancing act, and if anyone can do that, I think it's this president, as far as balancing both sides that are involved here.
All right, Daniel, just a few seconds left. Quickly, do you see any relief in sight at the pump, or will this go through the summer?
No, this is going to go through the summer unless the administration changes its approach, and there are no signs that they're going to change their approach. So get ready, America.
All right, Daniel Kish, Jimmy Green, thank you both.